is a kind of a recap of the 1976 Olympic Complex project paper that was completed last week. Introduction. The 1976 Olympic Complex project went 13 times over its budget. It was originally projected at $120 million and ended at $1.5 billion in cost. The games did take place on time, but several of the key construction features were not complete. They probably weren't the safest either. A good example of this would be the stadium tower and retractable roof, which was supposed to be in place at the start, but it was not. This picture here below shows the tower and the retractable roof as it would have looked, but it was completed much later. Information on this slide comes from Afdemar, 1976. Objectives for the paper were basically to identify the failures that led to the massive costs and unattainable deadlines. And, of course, this suggests some ways these failures might have been avoided. Gathered. The mayor of Montreal at the time, who basically did what he had to do to win the Olympic Games for Montreal, was not a qualified project manager. He basically did nothing for 2 years. In 1970, they were awarded the Games. No construction or anything really began until 1972, which was an unfortunate delay. This delay led to an unrealistic and compressed schedule, given that the games had to begin at a certain time. The schedule was going to be compressed. The longer it took them to start, the shorter the schedule was going to be. This is actually a picture of the basic overall construction calendar Gantt chart that's in the 1976 Olympic report. Just one thing that stands out immediately is the timeline for the Olympic Stadium is just a little over 2 years to complete construction. And that's a massive structure, and you can see here the Olympic Velodrome, which is for bicycle racing, had almost 3 years to complete, much smaller. And you can see right here, really no construction began on any of the major buildings until after 1973. So they really compressed their timeline quite a bit. This schedule was found in the Amateur Athletic Foundation of Los Angeles, 1978. Basically, that's a report about the games. That led to some of the complex structures that were more concerned with aesthetics than practicality. There really was a sense that the artistic nature of the buildings was more important than what they were going to cost. The Olympic Stadium itself ended up costing $830 million, and it was projected at $40 million. And you can see right here some of these arches in the picture were a very unknown technique, and given the compressed timeline, it was difficult to put all that together and do so, in a way that the stadium was going to be completed as it was intended for the start of the games. And actually, this kind of compressed construction right here, where it's really crowded, it led to 12 fatalities. And then, of course, this is the velodrome for the bike racing, which you can see is a really kind of a complex RC structure that was designed to look like a bicycle helmet, which it does, but it was really an unnecessary expense, and it too went way over budget. It was unnecessary to build it that way. One other big thing was that there was no agreement with the powerful labor unions before construction began. And, for the labor unions, this was the perfect situation. It was a compressed timeline that had a very specific deadline, and so they were able to strike and basically demand anything that they wanted. So there were massive costs all along the way for overtime that perhaps could have been avoided had a contract been in place from the get-go. For the complex should have begun immediately after the games were awarded in 1970, not 2.5 years later. There should have been more oversight of Mayor Drapeau. He basically was allowed to kind of do whatever he wanted. Whenever he kind of updated the budget, people just listened and believed, and he really didn't have any expertise. And rather than put things out to public bidding, he just used people that kind of he liked or enjoyed their work. And then public bidding should have been conducted for all the structures with practicality and affordability as the goal, especially once the timeline was condensed. and they should have used known construction methods and resources that were already available in the immediate area. Labor contracts should have been established immediately to help avoid strikes and the overtime problems that they ran into. Most of this information came from Delate 2012 and Neal 1979. References for you to peruse if you like. And that's it. Have a great day.